Sorry. Yeah. It's okay though. I know it's loud, just not for it. It looks like a movie. See like the slideshow part? Or I mean like the little drapes or whatever you call that? Yeah. We're just gonna read a book and do some stuff on it. It's okay. I can't see your face. You have stage fright. It's okay. You guys just stay in the meeting. Sure. Okay. Guys ready? We're going to be comparing and contrasting. Sound familiar? Okay. So when you compare something, you're determining the similarities between two things. And when you contrast something, you're determining the differences. Right? Okay. Three-column chart. Think you guys can do that? Okay, I'll write the next one to you. Where will you put the things you're going to compare on your chart? But which box? Comparing. Good job. Okay. Okay. Where will you put the things you're contrasting? Good job. Okay. So here's a picture. You guys have the same picture, right? Okay. Now in this story, there's a few words I wasn't sure if you guys would know the meaning, so we're gonna go up here and I'm gonna ask you. Okay. Corkscrew, scolded, and peered. Okay, well we're gonna go over it. What word means the same, or almost the same as shawl? Based on the picture, what do you guys think that word shawl means? Good job. Okay. Are you following that? Something that goes over your head, okay? What word means the same or almost the same as peered? The picture. Okay, good job. Oh, now we're ready to read. Okay. Okay, so open your book. You guys follow along with me, okay? Ready? Okay. Back in the old days, there was a widow with two daughters named Rose and Blanche. They lived on a farm so poor it looked like the tail end of bad luck. They raised a few chickens, some beans, and a little cotton to get by. Rose, the older sister, was cross and mean and didn't know beans and birds' eggs. Blanche was sweet and kind and sharp as 40 crickets. But their mother liked Rose the best because they were alike as two peas in a pod, bad-tempered, sharp-tongued, and always putting on airs. The mother made Blanche do all the work around the house. She had to iron the clothes each morning using an old iron filled with hot coals, chop cotton in the afternoon, and string the beans for supper. While she'd be doing these chores, her mom and sister would sit side by side in rocking chairs on the shaded porch, fanning themselves and talking foolishness about getting rich and moving to the city, where they could go to fancy balls wearing dresses and lots of jewels.
Cinderella.
You think so? What do you think you could compare after reading that?
The sisters.
Perfect. The two sisters, right? That's right. So let's keep going and we'll see if we can compare these two. One hot day, the mother sent Blanche to well to fetch a bucket of water. When the girl got there, she found an old woman wrapped in a raggedy black shawl, near fainting with the heat. "Please, child, give me a sip of water," the old woman said. "I'm about to die of thirst." "Yes, Auntie," said Blanche, rinsing her bucket, dipping up some clean, cool well water. "Drink what you need." "Thank you, child," said the old woman when she'd taken swallow after swallow of water. "You got a spirit of do-right in your soul. God is going to bless you." Then she walked away down the path that led to the deep woods. What character traits do you see that Blanche has or possesses now?
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, turn the page. What When Blanche got back to the cabin, her mother and sister hollered at her for taking so long. "This water's so warm, it's near boiling," shouted Rose, and she dumped the bucket out on the porch. "Here, your poor sister's near dying for a drop of cool water," her mother screamed, "and you can't even bring her that little thing." Then the two of them scolded and hit Blanche until she frightened and ran away into the woods. She began to cry since she didn't have anywhere to go, and she was scared to go home. Suddenly, around a bend in the path came the old woman in the raggedy black shawl. When she saw Blanche, she asked kindly, "What's made you cry so, you poor child?" "Mamma and Sister Rose lit into me for something that wasn't my fault," said Blanche, rubbing the tears off her cheek. "Now I'm afraid to go home." "Hush, child, stop your crying. You come on home with me. I'll give you supper and a clean bed. You've got to promise you won't laugh at anything you see." Blanche gave her word of honor that she wouldn't laugh. Then the old woman took her by the hand and led her deep into the backwoods. As they walked along the narrow path, bramble bushes and tree branches opened wide in front of them and closed up behind them. Soon they came to the old woman's tumble-down shack. A cow with two heads and horns like corkscrews peered over a fence at Blanche and brayed like a mule. She reckoned it was a pretty strange sight, but she didn't say anything, not wanting to hurt the old woman's feelings. Next, she saw that the yard in front of the cabin was filled with chickens of every color. Some were hopping about on one leg, some running about on 3 or 4 or even more. These chickens didn't cluck but whistled like mockingbirds. But strange as this all was, Blanche stuck by her promise not to laugh. What clues does the book give you to let you know if this is not a realistic fiction book?
A cow with 2 heads. And
Cow with
a
2 heads,
colorful
colorful
chicken with
chickens.
more than
So is this just a fiction or fantasy book?
It's complete fantasy.
Okay, that's what I thought. All right. So look at your exit ticket because now you're gonna have to pay attention. This might help you, okay? When they got inside the cabin, the old woman said, "Light the fire, child, and cook us some supper." So Blanche fetched kindling from the woodpile outside the back door. The old woman sat down near the fireplace and took off her head. She set it on her knees like a pumpkin. First she combed out her gray hair, then she plaited it into 2 long braids. Blanche got pretty scared at this, but the woman had been nothing but kind to her, so she just went on lighting the fire. After a bit, the old woman put her head back on her shoulders and looked at herself in a sliver of mirror nailed to the cabin wall. "Ahem," she said, nodding, "that's better." Then she gave Blanche an old beef bone and said, "Put this in the pot for supper." Now Blanche was near starving, and the bone looked like a pretty sad meal for the 2 of them, but she did what the old woman said. "Shall I boil it up for soup, Annie?" she asked. "Look at the pot, child," the old woman said, laughing. The pot was filled with thick stew bubbling away. Next, the woman gave Blanche only 1 grain of rice and told her to grind it in the stone mortar. Feeling mighty foolish, Blanche began to pound the grain with the heavy stone pestle. In a moment, the mortar was overflowing with rice. When they had finished supper, the old woman said, "It's a fine moonshiny night, child. Come with me."
I can do here with
Okay, we'll do that at the end. They sat themselves down on the back porch steps. After a time, dozens of rabbits came out of the underbrush and formed a circle in the yard. The men rabbits all had frock-tail coats, and the lady rabbits had little trail train dresses. They danced, standing on their hind feet, hopping about. One big rabbit played a banjo, and the old woman hummed along with it. Blanche kept time by clapping along. The rabbits did a square dance, a Virginia reel, and even a cakewalk. The girl felt so happy she never wanted to leave. She sat and clapped until she fell asleep, and the old woman carried her inside and put her to bed. When Blanche got up the next morning, the old woman told her, "Go milk my cow." The girl did what she was told, and the 2-headed cow with the curly horns gave her a bucket of the sweetest milk she'd ever tasted. They had it with their morning coffee. "You gotta go home now, child," the old woman said to Blanche, who was washing the breakfast dishes. "But I tell you, things will be better from here on out. Since you're such a good girl, I got a present for you. Go out to the chicken house. Any eggs that say 'take me,' you go ahead and take. But if you hear any say 'don't take me,' you leave them be. When you get near home, throw those eggs one after another over your left shoulder so they break in the road behind you. Then you'll get a surprise." When Blanche got to the little chicken's house, she found all the nests filled with eggs. Half were gold or silver or covered with jewels. Half looked no different from the eggs she got from her chickens back home. All the plain eggs told her, "Take me." All the fancy ones cried, "Don't take me." She wished she could take just 1 gold or silver or jeweled egg, but she did what the old woman told her and only scooped up the plain ones. Turn the page. She and the old woman waved goodbye to each other, then Blanche went on her way. Partway home, she began to toss the eggs, one at a time, over her left shoulder. All sorts of wonderful things spilled out of those eggs. Now diamonds and rubies, now gold and silver coins, now pretty silk dresses and dainty satin shoes. There was even a handsome carriage that grew in a week from the size of a matchbox, and a fine brown and white pony that sprouted from the size of a cricket to draw it. Blanche loaded all these lovely things into the carriage and rode the rest of the way home like a grand lady. When she got back to the cabin, her mother and sister just gawked at her new finery. "Where did you get all these things?" her mother asked, making Rose help Blanche carry the treasures inside. That evening, the mother cooked dinner for the first time since Blanche was old enough to hold a skillet. All the time telling Blanche what a sweet daughter she was, her mama got the girl to tell about the old woman and the cabin in the woods and the talking eggs. When Blanche was asleep, the mother grabbed Rose and told her, "You gotta go into the woods tomorrow morning and find that old Annie. Then you'll get some of those talking eggs for yourself so you can have fine dresses and jewels just like your sister. When you get back, I'll chase Blanche off and keep her things myself. Then we'll go to the city and be fun ladies like we're meant to be. Can't we just run her off tonight so I don't have to go poking through the woods looking for some crazy old Annie?" Rose whined. "There's not near enough for two," her mother said, getting angry. "You do as I say and don't be so contrary." So the next morning Rose set out, dragged foot into the woods. She dawdled mostly, but soon met the old woman in her ragged black shawl. "My sweet little sister Blanche told me you got a real pretty house and all," said Rose. "I'd appreciate to see it." "You can come with me if you've a mind to," the old woman said. "You've got to promise not to laugh at whatever you see." "I swear," said Rose. So the old woman led her to the bramble bushes and tree branches into the deep woods. So when they got near the cabin and Rose saw the two-headed cow that brayed like a mule and the funny-looking chickens that sang like mockingbirds, she yelled, "If there was ever a sight, that's one. That's the stupidest thing in the world." And she laughed and laughed until she nearly fell down. "Ahem," said the old woman, shaking her head. Inside, Rose complained when she was asked to start the fire, and she wound up with more smoke than flame. When the old woman gave her an old bone to put in the pot for supper, Rose said crossly, "That's going to make a mighty poor meal." She dropped it in the pot, but the old bone remained a bone, so they only had thin soup for supper. When the old woman gave her 1 grain of rice to grind in the mortar, Rose said, "That sad speck won't hardly feed a fly." She went and left the pestle, so they had no rice at all. "Ahem," the old woman muttered. Rose went to bed hungry. All night she heard mice scratching under the floor and screech owls clawing at the window. In the morning, the old woman told her to milk the cow. Rose did, but she made fun of the two-headed creature, and all she got was a little sour milk not fit for drinking. So they had their breakfast coffee without cream. When the old woman lifted her head off her shoulders to brush her hair, quick as a wink, Rose grabbed that head and said, "I'm not going to put you back together until you give me presents like my sister got." What motivated Rose to take the woman's head off? Why'd she do that?
She did that because she wanted the eggs. Quickly, but she
Okay,
had to work for them.
let's see what happens. "Ah, child, you're a wicked girl," said the old woman's head, "but I gotta have my body back, so I'll tell you what to do. Go to the chicken house and take those eggs that say take me, but leave be the ones that cry, don't take me. Then you toss those eggs over your right shoulder when you're on your way home." To be sure the old woman wasn't playing her a trick, Rose set the old woman's head out on the porch while her body sat groping around the cabin. Then she ran to the chicken house. Inside, all the plain eggs cried, "Take me," while all the gold and silver and jeweled ones said, "Don't take me. You think I'm fool enough to listen to you and pass up the prettiest ones? Not on your life." So she grabbed all the gold and silver and jeweled eggs that kept yelling, "Don't take me," and off she ran into the woods with them. As soon as she was out of sight of the old woman's cabin, she tossed the eggs over her right shoulder as fast as she could. But out of the shells came clouds of whip snakes, toads, frogs, yellow jackets, and a big old gray wolf. These began to chase after her like pigs after a pumpkin. Hollering bloody murder, Rose ran all the way to her mother's cabin. When the woman saw the swarm of things chasing her daughter, she tried to rescue her with a broom. But the wasp and the wolf and all the other creatures wouldn't be chased off, so mother and daughter hightailed it to the woods with all the animals following. When they returned home, angry and sore and stung and covered with mud, they found Blanche had gone to the city to live like a grand lady, though she remained as kind and generous as always. For the rest of their lives, Rose and her mother tried to find the strange old woman's cabin and the talking eggs, but they never could find that place again.
And I have. I think I have a lot.
Okay, well, we're gonna complete this compare and contrast chart, okay? What do you want to compare and contrast? What two things from the story?
I want to compare and contrast.
Well, we're gonna do it straight from the story. What did you say you were gonna compare and contrast?
I was gonna say I know why they couldn't find it.
Right, but what are we gonna fill on our chart?
We're gonna compare and contrast the sister.
Okay, so what
and the
other sister?
I want to compare Bonji and Rose.
Perfect. So everybody write Blanchi right here. BLANCH. Now what goes on the middle column?
Same thing.
Perfect. What goes on the right column?
Rose.
Rose. Okay. So Rose and Blanchi, that's the two sisters. So Blanchi was what?
Nice.
Okay, so perfect. We'll do 2 for each.
Wait.
Rose.
And for the sister, they're related.
Okay, that's fine. Right, Rose is same here. What characteristics does Rose have? Think about your word chart. What does she mean? Okay. Perfect. So write that.
Well, that's a perfect match.
Yeah. Sure.
How did you put
RUDE.
I had
Okay. What else can you say about her?
I know stuff.
Yep. Okay, so what are you gonna put for Blanchi? That she's nice, you said? Hardworking?
Kind.
Very. Okay, great.
Very hardworking.
Great. Then go ahead and write it. Good job. Great word. Did you hear that? Emma said obedient.
Actually,
Good job. Okay. Now,
Can we put two more than
sure. More, absolutely. What? Lazy. Good job. That's a good one. Okay. What? Now for the same. What do they have in common?
girls. We both girls.
Okay.
I mean, that's the obvious.
Now roses, they both have the same mom.
Good job. Great.
They both have the same mom.
Okay.
We both found the same woman.
There you go. Perfect. So just put some things down for same.
Oh, how do you spell?
Let's sound it out. Yeah. OBE. D. I. Good job. Try to list at least 2 for how they're the same. We can't really say that any of their character traits are the same, can we? No,
Not even close.
not even close. That's right.
We're
Okay.
comparing Blanchi and respectful.
Yep.
We're comparing the mom and Rose. They both had the eggs.
Yes, that's right.
Oh, but Rose got the bad things, and Blanchi got the
What
good
happened when
things.
Blanchi threw this up over her
She
shoulder?
got good things.
All these nice things came out, right? Like dresses,
That's because she was she was a good kid.
right?
Being obedient.
Good
And
job.
Rose got all
Right.
the bad things.
Yeah,
She was
wasn't Robin.
She was listening
it's okay.
to the old woman.
Okay, so what happened when Rose threw it over her shoulder?
She got good
She got the
things.
bad
like-
stuff because she got the jewels.
She got chased and
by wasps. These stuff.
snakes and wolves and
The wasp stuff is just. I am not
Let's share
about
the
this.
same house.
yeah,
There was bees.
there was bees. That's right. Okay, so turn your chart over. Okay, you can finish.
I got this one. Girls, long house.
Good job. Okay, now
And
you're.
we were both four.
That's right. That's a good one. Let's add that to our chart. That's a great one. Good job. 4. Do you want to add anything else?
Yeah. They another thing about their difference is that she they're both different.
She's young.
Blanche's young.
That's right. Who's the younger one? Good job. The story tells you that, doesn't it?
Roses.
That's right. Now I'm gonna ask you a question. So when you follow directions like you're told, what happens?
They're rewarded.
Exactly. And when you don't pay attention, what happens?
You get punished.
Okay, so turn it over.
Now we can do our. I've got Tori.
Okay, so now we're gonna work on our exit ticket. This is what the question says. Explain the difference between Blanche's and Rose's reaction when the old woman took off her head. Just write it. Nobody talking out loud. Write it on your exit ticket. Yeah, you just write it down. What happened when the old woman took her head off? Go back to the story if you need to. It tells you in the story. Yes. Go back to the story if you need to. Maybe check page 15 for Blanche.
Here, page 14.
Okay, that's for Blanche though. You gotta find out what happened when Rose does it too. You're telling me the difference. We're comparing and contrasting on our exit ticket too. Explain the difference between Blanche's and Rose's reaction when the old woman took off her head. What did Blanche do when the woman took her head off, and what did Rose do? You can use the story if you need to. Okay, well you write it. Let's see if everybody can get it, okay? Okay, let's sound it out. What do you think you started with? Good job. X, O-U-S. Anxious. You're the S at the end? Maybe check page 26 for what happened when Rose did. You're done? Okay, so did you compare the two? Okay, so go put your exit ticket up there for me. And come back. Yes. It said that the old woman took her head off, and what did Rose do with her head? She took it, didn't she? And she put it on the porch. But what was her reaction? What'd she do? You just told me what she did. Bless you. You done? Perfect. Can you put it up there for me? That's okay. Wherever you want to put it. You can put it underneath too. Under head? Yep, perfect. I know. See, that's why you do that. So you can start thinking about it. Turn your three column chart back over. Perfect. Okay. Do your exit ticket and let's put them up. Okay, good job. 26 is about Rose. Do you want to maybe help her? She's maybe, are you stuck, honey? Do you want help? Okay, when Blanche took her head off, or when the old woman took her head off in front of Blanche, what did she do? What did she do? Yeah, now you're doing Rose. This was about Blanche, now this is about Rose. No, that's fine. All right, are you done? Okay, go ahead and close your book and turn your 3-column chart over. Good job. Not to laugh, right?
It's kind of different right here.
Write it down on your chart. What's different? Rose, did Rose laugh? Did Blanche laugh? Okay, that's another thing on your chart. That was your exit ticket, so you guys are going to be done as soon as everybody finishes. Thank you, President. Thank you. Okay, so now do Rose. Okay, finish your exit ticket. We can be done.
What did Rose do?
Okay, put it on my chart. Oh, wow. Okay, can you guys give me your books back? Like the eggs, right?
That's why I was doing it.
Okay, one more. I'm so loud and. What'd I say? Whatever. Okay. Hold on, honey. I'll be right there. Okay. Let her finish this, and I'm done. Wow, but they have mean stuff inside. All right, go back to your seat. Good job. Good job. Good job. Good job.
Pencils.
Oh, wasps and bees and wolves are gonna come get you. High five. Good job. Put it on the board. Okay, wherever you guys are supposed to go.
Computers.